How has the last couple of weeks in real estate been for you?
It's been good. Like buyer
Yeah.
confidence have been coming out. We had one listing that we actually picked up as an expired, which was great. But that one there, it was so crazy because there was a agent that had the listing for 6 months, only had 5 showings.
Mm-hmm.
We relisted that, and we had like I think in 6 days, like 110 plus and 25 offers, sold almost
Mm-hmm.
200K over asking. So it's starting to get back there again to the holding offers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's kind of, obviously it's always great to like be the only offer, but I think it's better because now buyers have a timeline. Like I was saying in my last video, that buyers think that the grass is greener on the other side all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not true. I know for like especially me and my team members, we have had buyers where we found them the 9 out of 10 or the 10 out of 10 house for them, and they're like, we'll wait. It's like, what are you waiting for? You just found the house. Do you know what I mean? But I find
Yeah.
that holding offers is such an attractive price that it just brings people in and it gets that timeline done, right?
Yeah.
Because buyers just think that the timeline is whenever, oh, like maybe I won't buy then. It's like, well, like, what are
Mm-hmm.
we doing then? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. You tell me how much you want to buy the house, and now you're saying like, well, like maybe, like I don't get it. But
Yeah.
we have to remember that, like, as real estate professionals, we go through this every single day, and
Mm-hmm.
we know what the process is, and we understand that it's a big deal. But also, too, we have to put our the best ways to always, even for these leads, is to put ourselves in their shoes. Like they're first
Mm-hmm.
time buyers, they're spending probably a lot, all or most of their money just to get in, so they want to feel confident, and it's your job as a sales representative to make them confident. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're not on the right track, then you need to educate. If you're educating correctly and they're still not listening, then you have to let them, unfortunately, like figure it out on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, like, if they want to put in offers on a house that they know that they're not going to get, then you take them, you write those offers, you waste your time, unfortunately. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the leverage at that point is just saying, hey, I'm okay to do it your way this time, but if you don't get it, then guess what? We're doing it my way. Is that a deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. And then once they're frustrated, they're going to start listening to the professional,
Yeah. Yeah. We all like to think we know more than we do sometimes.
right?
'Cause it makes us
Which is
feel better about
hilarious.
what we're doing. Right.
I
We
agree,
just, yeah, or we question the process because we think differently, right? And that's,
right?
yeah, it's
I totally understand.
and it goes with anything really, right? Anything that's a major, purchase or situation really. It's sometimes we're hesitant to let go of that control, right? And as much as you are in control, it's just the unknown that's terrifying. So the more we feel like we're in control, the more confident we are.
Totally,
And
totally,
sometimes that means butting head with the person that actually knows what they're
totally,
doing.
right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And like honestly, I think that some people just want to be challenged, right? Like
Yeah.
that's just what it is.
Hmm.
And as we know in real estate, every transaction is different. So every person that you're dealing with is a different puzzle that you need to
Hmm.
understand how to, unlock at the end of the day.
Hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But it
I
gets
just,
tough though sometimes,
oh, I can imagine, right? There's certain individuals that are definitely easier to work with than others.
right?
Um, and that goes with any profession out there,
Right?
right? It's just the nature of any field that deals with any sort of customer service, right? You're dealing
Exactly.
with someone's emotions, and so you're going on that emotional roller coaster with them.
Exactly. I totally agree.
Mhm.
And sometimes you're just like strapping in for the ride. That's it,
Yeah. Let's go. Let's
right?
go.
What were you
Yeah.
gonna say though?
Well, there's just a couple questions like that have come up in chat groups, just with like more of kind of like how to handle situations. So you obviously deal with yourself with a lot of buyers, whether they're first time or repeat buyers or
Right.
seasoned buyers. But what do you consider, and anyone else here, if you have a method that you go about it, what is the politest way or ways to explain why somebody would need a pre-qualification? Because we know how important that is, when it with the home buying process and also in connection to what you're sending them. But how do you guys go about it, or the polite way, whether they're compliant, or of course you do get some people that are kind of, they push back and they're like, no, I don't
Yeah.
need one of those yet, right?
Yeah.
So
So how I deal with that is before I even go about the whole pre-approval, most of you guys, I've been doing this for, can't believe we've been almost doing this for 2 years or longer. This
I
is
know, right? I know.
um, one of my best relationships. So I love you, Crystal. But basically, like as you guys know from our calls, is basically like you don't if you just go in jumping into those questions right away, you're not going to get the answer. So
Mhm,
when I was learning how to deal with these leads, is I was figuring out, okay, let's figure out what they're looking for. So as you can tell in my scripts that I usually do, is when someone comes on, I just thank them for coming on. I let them know that I'm not here to sell them on anything. I basically say I'm here for your customer service and to make sure that you have a great user experience. And then from agent locator system, if you look at the activity center on like the dash page of that lead, usually they'll say detach, attach, semi,
mhm,
whatever it is in an area, right?
mhm,
So for example, if a lead comes in and they're looking at a semi in Oshawa, right? I already
mhm.
know that I know this. They don't know, right? So this
Yeah.
is how you start building more like trust and professionalism. Oh, I see that you're looking for semis detaches in Oshawa. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Okay. Are you only looking for semis or are you looking for attached, detached, linked houses? So I'm asking them questions to open up and to have a conversation back and forth because the
Mhm.
more back and forth is happening, the more relationships are getting built and the more truth that they're going to tell you and the
Yeah.
better way to close them, right? So
Mhm.
so once I go, are you looking, yes, I'm actually looking to get the best value. So if that's detached for sure, but I'd be open to semis if I can't get a detached. Okay,
Yep.
no problem. I see that you're putting in Oshawa. Would you consider other areas that would get you a little bit more value, such as Port Hope, Coburg, or would you consider to Clarington, or would you want to go more to the city, right? So you're asking them
Mhm.
questions, and look, I haven't even talked to them about a pre-approval yet, right?
Mhm.
So I'm getting them to trust me, and once they trust me, like, yeah, I would go out that far. Yes, if I can get that product. Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
Is there a budget that you're looking to stay in between? I'm looking to stay between 7 to 8. Okay, you have a budget for it. In my head, that's what I'm noting. Okay, awesome. Now, if you don't mind me asking, have you been pre-approved? This is where you
Mhm.
throw the pre-approval in because
Mhm.
if you're not at this point, this is how naturally the conversation's going. You don't want it to be like talking about something. Oh, are you looking at house in Austria? Yes. Are you pre-approved? Like they don't like it doesn't connect, right?
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
more that you can flow and connect properly with your questions in that flow, the greater your chances are going to be to get that yes and getting the truth and building that relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, so I once you have a little bit of a conversation back and forth, that's when you want to ask the harder questions, which is,
Mhm.
have you been pre-approved? Because
Yeah.
then they'll say yes, right?
Mhm.
And then this is how I build my business is if you're an agent that doesn't have, you know, proper representation of lenders at the bank, so you don't have, you know, excuse me, a mobile specialist in TD, Scotiabank things to mortgage broker, you're missing
Mhm.
out on opportunities to leverage your relationships.
Mhm.
So how I work is generally if I give you 3 leads, I want one back. So what you're doing is
Mhm.
you're mining and while you're lead genning to figure out, okay, awesome. You haven't been pre-approved. Who do you bank with?
Mhm.
TD. Okay, I'm gonna send you to my TD rep. Or if they're in a scenario where it's like, the problem is if I kind of fucked up my credit before, or I don't want to be at my bank. I'm kind of looking at a new one. Then you go mortgage broker,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And the reason why you want to connect these lines together, because if you can help fund them the deal, guess what? You're getting the deal,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? So as long as you get someone in your referral circle that's the same strength or better than you, then you're good. I don't
Yeah.
usually put anyone less than me because like that's not who I am as a team. And
And
remember, you work your way up, right?
yeah.
Like I've
Oh
been
yeah.
doing this for 7 years.
Mhm. And it takes practice for sure in how you're going
100%.
to, perform that dialogue to get the
a hundred
answers you're looking
percent.
for.
A
And
hundred
then
percent.
and then what in a scenario where, you're asking about the pre-approval, you're doing that and somebody's a little bit resistant. So right, they're trying to find a hard, like they're trying to wrap their head around why do I need to do this?
Yeah.
So how do you explain that to them, the importance of gaining that pre-approval in the process?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to role play? Because I think this would be a little bit
Sure.
easier, if
Yeah,
that's okay with you.
sure.
Okay. So have you been pre-approved?
No, no, not yet.
Okay, cool. Well, based on the products that you're looking for, I think what's a great way to get the process started is to get a pre-approval because the thing is there's just so much different price points in the market. There's some listings that are holding offers, or some listings that are listed high, knowing that you can negotiate. So it's really good to know your numbers so you're not falling in love with a product or an area that you may not be able to afford, you know?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
it's my job as your real estate agent to make this process as seamless as possible.
mhm.
So do you have a bank that you're currently at now, or have you worked with like a mortgage broker in the past?
I have a bank I work with now.
Okay, cool. If you don't mind me asking, because we have relationships at everyone at other banks here. Who are
Mhm.
you bank with right now?
CIBC.
Nice, nice. How do you find them? Do you like them?
Yeah, so far, so far they're
Yeah.
good.
Whoever gives you the best peer approval, right?
Right.
I totally understand. I don't know if you know, but it's always great to start at the bank that you work at, or you're at, because I didn't know this until I got into real estate, but actually the banks, and this is true, the banks actually have a special rating for you based on the history that you have on file. So if you've been on time paying your bills and building such great history, you're actually going to get pre-approved for a little bit better. And that's why I always
Mhm,
say start at the bank that you bank with, because they'll give you a little bit more, because that extra 10 or 25K will go a long
mhm.
way. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then do I need to have a pre-approval though to go look at houses, or can't I just go look at houses?
So we can go look at houses. However, I always tell people to get a pre-approval first, because like I stated at the beginning, is I don't want you to fall in love with something and get a product stuck in your head if the numbers don't work for you, right? Because then
Mhm,
all you're going to want is that product. So
mhm,
I would be open to taking you out the first time to get your feet wet, showcasing what's available. I'll show you some attached, semis, and detaches, so you have a good, experience of what these products are in the area.
mhm.
And then as you see it, hopefully you find one that you do like. But regardless, I think after that meeting, I can connect you to my rep at CIBC, and she can take care of you. And then at least
Okay.
now you'll have a better understanding of where the market is and where you stand.
Mhm.
Doesn't that
Okay.
sound good?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just making it easy, right? Like I
Mhm,
didn't make it hard. I didn't make it awkward. I
mhm,
came with education. I came scripted, keyword
mhm.
scripted, knowing what you're going to say and letting them know. And sometimes, like, yes, I talk a little bit, but remember, I'm talking a little bit because of the education background of letting the person know why it's important. Why am I telling you why I'm telling you? You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
And I think that's the best way to go about it. How did you feel about that, Crystal?
It was good. It was fine. Yeah.
Right?
Like it's different because I know the process.
Exactly. Exactly. Right?
It's when you have that understanding of how the flow and how everything works. But again, a lot of y'all are working with first time buyers that
Right.
have zero clue as to what's the next step, and they need a lot of hand holding. And I'm
Right.
probably sure you can concur is that the more you cradle those first time buyers, the more confident they feel
Yes.
and trust, right? Because
Yes.
they're expecting you to kind of carry them through this process because they don't know what the heck they're doing.
No. And I think the big thing, the big takeaway was coming from contribution. Well, do I need a pre-approval before I see houses, or can I just see houses? And then I was leveling with that lead saying, hey, you know what? I'll go take you houses the first time just so you have an understanding, get your feet wet. But once you're done, you're getting pre-approved.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's not like I'm saying no, I'm trying to work with it, right? Because
Yeah.
no one wants to hear the hard answer no, because guess what? I'm going to go to someone that will,
Yeah. There's always
right?
somebody that's going to be willing to. So,
Right? And then at that point, you have to understand: are you going to sign them on a BRA to go see those houses, or are you going to
hmm,
just hopefully bank on the relationship? So that's
hmm,
usually the next question that you want to tell yourself and how you want to do it. But chances are, when you get someone like in this scenario where we're talking about getting pre-approved and like showing them a couple of houses to get their feet wet, generally I probably wouldn't sign them on the property, because they're clearly working with me. As
yeah.
long as I show them the right stuff and I get them in touch with my mortgage people,
Hmm.
they're definitely going to work with me.
Yeah.
However, when you want to get BRA signed is someone that has seen stuff with other agents, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
absolutely.
you're more than welcome to like go and not sign it, but like you have to understand there's so much power with getting a BRA signed while before seeing a property.
Yeah.
Um, just because it's the trust, right? And
Hmm.
also too, it's letting people know you're a professional. And
Hmm.
now the other subliminal thing that's really great is they've already signed with you. So
Hmm.
now, if you want to write an offer, or now if you want to sign them again on another BRA, but do it exclusively now, not on the house, guess what? They're already used to it. You already
Hmm.
have their IDs. They're
Hmm.
ready. They're your clients,
Yeah.
and that is a client. Not
Hmm.
like, oh, I
Hmm.
showed someone a house. If you're not signed with them, unless you have the relationship locked down, they are not a client.
Hmm. No, absolutely. And I find in a scenario where you have somebody perhaps that's looking for that pre-approval and you're helping to align and make that happen, when it comes down, okay, now we've got this, so let's take the next step in the flow of the structure of this, and that is to get this BRA signed.
Right.
And then, going into that, because now you've already established the trust in connecting them with another professional to keep the momentum going. And then now they're going to naturally feel more confident in, in,
Exactly.
in yourself to be more willing to just sign.
Exactly. But like, you might not get the first person, or you
No.
you will, right? It just comes down to, like, I'm telling you, if you make things awkward or like you're stuttering, they're
Hmm.
not going to sign. But
No.
if you come like cool, calm, and collected, you're going to get all the business.
Yeah. Perfect.
Just because, like, that's just what it is.
Hmm. Hmm. Now the other handling objection is more on a listing side. So for anyone that like is doing a CMA, and I'm sure you've had it where you've gone to do a CMA and somebody is essentially comparing you to the other people that they've interviewed. And so this like objection is kind of more of like, well, the other agent in the interview has sold 50 more homes than you this year. So what do you do personally if somebody brings up a statistic about another realtor that perhaps is a little greater than yours? How would you counter that with still bringing the confidence that regardless of those transactions, you're still the person to go with?
Yeah. So that's a tough one. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you, that's a tough one, especially depending where you are in your career. Like,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm in my career, like, generally, the you know, it's a little bit more easier because I have a lot more leverage because I have a
Mm-hmm.
team, I have all this stuff, and I have my
Mm-hmm.
numbers to back it up. But if
Yeah.
you're a newer person, this is a tough objection, to be honest with you. The way
Yeah.
that I would go, I honestly, I never even had that objection when
No.
I
Yeah.
was even first starting, but
Yeah.
it's a really good question. So, you know what? I understand that person. I understand that person sold 50 more homes than me, which is awesome, and kudos to that agent. However, that agent's probably a bigger agent, and it probably is a team, meaning that if you do work with them, you may not get the one-on-one support like you're getting now, and it may feel robotic rather than a real genuine connection like you and I
Mm-hmm.
have. So let
Mm-hmm.
me ask you, what is more important to you? Obviously, getting top dollar, which we both will do that for you, no problem. But do you want to have a process where it's seamless, someone that you can trust, and someone that you can call and message, and I'll be there right to answer? Or do you want someone that you can call them, you don't get that person, but you get someone else in their respect, or not getting back to you on time? I think at the end of the day, it comes down to communication. And
Mm-hmm.
clearly, you and I have been going back and forth for a while. You've been seeing how I can negotiate and how I can handle your great objections that you've given me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident in what I can do. I think you and I are a great partnership, and I'm motivated to get you top dollar. All I need is for you to take that chance with me, and let's get it done together. What I can do is
Mm-hmm.
I can give you a 60-day exclusive, just so you can showcase the way that I work. And I already know that we're a great fit, but I want to show you how I do my business, and I want to work hard for you because I want to earn your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I would say.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
was fire,
Which,
but like it's still
yeah.
kind of like you're, and like, also, we don't know if that person would actually give a team thing. But
Yeah.
generally, if someone's
That's
selling
just like,
over
yeah, it
50
could be.
deals,
Yeah.
they're generally on a team.
Yeah. Like if their numbers are significantly high, there's definitely more than one person involved in that.
100%. You can't do all of
Mm-hmm.
it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I find too, kind of off topic, on topic, is the bigger you are, and again, where you're not getting that main agent, a lot of people, and from experience and listening to a consumer, seeing reviews, is that they actually get upset because they're hiring, like if let's say I'm hiring you, Nick, and now I get everyone but Nick, and now it just cost me $50,000 in commissions. I'm going to be a little bit upset because I didn't hire
100%.
all these other people. I hired you, right?
Right.
So it feels like, you took my money. Yes, you sold my house, but the experience
There's
I was
no
looking
relationship.
for, there was no relationship. It was just a transaction,
Right.
right? So
And
it's,
that's the thing, right? Like, the reason why these leads do very well, and the way that I come from it, is I've come from relationship.
mm-hmm,
That's the way you got to do it, right? Because it doesn't. It's funny, but it doesn't take that much to stand out as a good agent in these days. Meaning, if
mm-hmm,
you tell someone what you're going to do, and you tell them and you do it, that's all that matters. If you say so, for example, if you're going to say something you're doing it, right?
Hmm.
If they're calling you or texting you, you get them back at a timely manner. It doesn't mean right away, but it means hopefully in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. You don't really want to
Hmm.
go much longer than that, right? I mean, unless
Hmm.
you're in a scenario, cool, I get it. But you need to just let people know, or if you can't talk to them, be like, hey, you know what? I'm just an appointment. Can I give you a shout later? They just want to be acknowledged. I think at the end of the day, let's put ourselves in in a client's shoes. If I'm looking to purchase something and I send you something and I'm not hearing back from you,
Hmm.
to me that says like you're not interested and you don't have time for me, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And also, if I'm a listing and I'm already asking you and testing you, hey, can you send me this listing? Can you find out certain things for it? And I'm not doing it, guess what? You're losing that business,
Hmm. Oh yeah, 100%.
right?
100%. You
You
have
have
to be
to,
responsive.
yeah, you have to just put yourself in their shoes on what you would want.
Hmm.
And I think
Hmm.
that's what really helped me propel my career.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I had a similar scenario where I was helping a friend try to find a property. It's an old man, and based on what he was looking for, there was one. And so I just reached out to get some more details, trying to reach out to the listing agent. Do you think I got any response? He was like, called a person, left messages, sent text messages, had them paged, still no response.
Which is
So,
crazy.
so of course I reached out to another agent in the area that I know just through work and other relationships. And he reached out and he was even having a hard time getting this. And finally the agent gets back to him being like, oh, they're putting it, they're taking it off the market. I'm like, it took you
Well,
that long to like,
don't you want to
like
sell it though? Like just
it
before you
was,
take it off the market? Like I don't
yeah.
understand.
Yeah, so it was just kind of one of those, and that happens a lot, right? Where we get busy or we're avoiding the calls on our phones or whatever it is. Many realtors will answer their phone, but there's a lot that don't with those numbers that are unknown, and it could very well be business on the other end
Right?
of those calls, right? Or if they're non-responsive, we see it often enough in people's CRM systems when leads are reaching out through text or responding to text messages, and the agent isn't responding back, right?
It's crazy.
So and regardless of what the response is, I always encourage that you do reply back,
100%.
right? They took the moment to actually give you a response. At least give them the courtesy of
Courtesy.
actually responding to them, whatever it is.
Totally.
Right? It comes down to your professionalism, even if it's something that you didn't necessarily want to hear. Right?
Exactly.
So
But
yeah.
our job is not to tell people what they want to hear. Our job is
Mm-hmm.
to educate and let them know the truth. And I think people like really take that the right way.
Yeah.
As long as you're not super aggressive with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like I'm finding that my leads generally from over 180 250 days are starting to come back out of the woodworks, and like those
Mm-hmm.
are hotter leads because remember most people haven't followed up with them and they're
Yeah.
so comfortable going back on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go over one of my live dials that I have because I've been trying to do that instead of calling because sometimes, as you guys know,
Yeah.
I might not get anyone, right? And I
Yeah.
want to help everyone out here. So
Sure.
give me 1 second because I have to share screen to share
Do
sound.
that. Yeah. No
Fortunately.
worries. No
Oh my
worries.
god. Oh my god, the screen is brutal. Okay, which screen do you see? This one here? This
Your
one, right?
CRM. Yeah, your CRM.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So let's this is a 20
Hello.
minute call, so I'll
Hey,
just
Christine, how are
fast
you?
forward a little bit.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good.
That's good. It's actually just Nick Moretti giving you a shout. Just want to thank you for viewing Homes on Moretti Real Estate.
Oh, thanks.
I saw that, yeah, I saw that you unsubscribed because I think you weren't probably getting the properties you want to see.
So this is one that unsubscribed and I brought her
Nice.
back to life. So
Nice.
as you can I was speaking a little fast, so I'll just go
Yeah.
back a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's
And
basically what it
and
is.
just so you guys know, the unsubscribes, we do encourage that you reach out to them because it falls back into your customer service.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hey, Christine, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good. It's actually just Nick Moretti giving you a shout. Just want to thank you for viewing Homes on Moretti Real Estate.
Oh, thanks.
I saw that, yeah, I saw that you unsubscribed because I think you weren't probably getting the properties you want to see. Just because sometimes when people come through, sometimes they're not set up correctly. So I just wanted to make sure that I was just sending you things that you do want to see. And I understand you're probably just in the information stage. So I just want to make sure you have a good user experience. That's all I'm
So just sorry, I'm gonna pause and just coach in here because it's a lot easier because I'm speaking really fast. Um, which I need to slow down sometimes. But at the beginning of the conversation in the first like 1 minute, I need to spiel everything I need to spiel so I can diffuse the bomb. So she unsubscribed, called her because most of the times people don't know how to put their right criteria because they're usually just clicking on one thing and then they just want to get out of it, right? So and I'm just letting her know she's probably in the information stage. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to make sure I'm sending you good things and just coming from user experience.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that would be helpful. Everything was retirement sort of community and poorly off from that still.
Yeah, you sound super young, so don't worry, I get it. But
Thanks. I'll take that compliment.
So just trying to get them to laugh at the end of the day, just because giving a compliment, doing whatever you need to do to make sure that the phone call is going well.
That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, can you give me a little bit more of what type of homes you may be looking for, so I can send you the right ones?
Yeah, for sure. It's like my daughter when she moves home from university, so I'm not that
Nice.
young. My daughter when she comes
okay.
home from university, she's probably coming at the end of the summer. So
Nice.
looking to see, I'm currently in a situation where I'm staying with somebody right now and have
Cool.
the flexibility to rent or to buy, maybe.
Yep. Yep.
And so,
Just pausing. You see how she's already opened up though, right?
Yes.
I know my
Yeah.
spiel at the beginning is a lot, but it works and it gets them to just open up. Now she's telling me her whole life.
just in terms of rental and or buying, we're sort of like up in the air about that.
Yep.
Either way, we're looking for something that it doesn't have to be, it certainly isn't going to be a mansion. It's not going to be a really, really expensive property. As you can see,
No, that
my
sounds
budget
good.
probably being like 450 being the max.
Okay.
Looking for something with 2 bedrooms and preferably at least a living space that's separate in the basement, not necessarily obviously an apartment, but like having a space to have a setup for like a living room area. And maybe 2 bathrooms is nice when there's more than 2 people, but
Sure.
yeah, we're not really fussy, and it doesn't even need to be in Oshawa proper. Like I'm looking like, anywhere in Durham is good. Anywhere even just a little bit north, a little bit east, like 10 or 15 minutes. Like,
Cool.
yeah, I have some flexibility that way. We don't need to be in the city proper. Prefer not to be near people, to be honest.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, my work takes me into Scarborough, so I do need to be somewhat local. But having an extra 10 or 15 minutes on my already drive from Curtis is a huge deal to me.
Yeah, I totally understand. Okay, so I know you said you would go a little bit more east, but like then I'm assuming is Port Hope Cobra too far then?
It might be too far for my daughter because she's going to be going to U of T.
Yeah.
Sorry. So this is a really good where I'm going with this is like knowing your products, right? So she's telling me that she works in Scarborough. I understand she has a challenging budget in this market. But now I'm asking, okay, would you go to Port Hope Cobra, which is like 25, 30 minutes from Clarington, which will give her a better price advantage, right?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
if I didn't know my areas and what things are selling, I wouldn't have that trust again still.
So I'm interested in that far, like even Port Hope, Newtonville, like that sort of thing. I would consider it and talk it over with her, but like I'm open to seeing what's available and what's out there.
Okay. And yeah, so just to let you know, like when like the automatic list comes out, I send you a handpicked and then like other things.
So
that you
great,
want to
like
see.
letting them know too, like
limit
I'm
what
going to
you're
send you a
seeing.
handpicked listing of homes that you do like, but just in case you see homes that you don't care to see in that Cobra, because the reason why she unsubscribed, there's an area in Newcastle where I live, where it's land lease homes. So like if I put under 500 or 550, it'll show detached homes, but like no, you can't like.
Yeah, they're leaseholds.
Exactly, right? So, and that's why she unsubscribed, because she's like, I'm seeing so many of this and I'm not that old. That's why.
Yeah.
So just letting you guys know.
I see those things in Newcastle that are like those kind of properties just because that's how they're listed. So like the land lease, I know that you're not interested in those, so just skip those if you do see them. But have you already been pre-approved, or is 450 just a random number that you're thinking that you want to work with?
Yeah, no, that's sort of what I want to work with. I'm in the process of just figuring out like maybe a cosigner, and then I don't want to max it out. Like I think with the cosigner, when I was speaking with the broker, she was thinking like probably going to get me 500, but I'm not interested in maxing it out for a number of reasons. So that's why if I could like ideally by myself, the only thing I can get is about 380.
Yeah, I know.
And so Yeah, so that's really limiting, obviously, more to townhomes and things like that. So I have the opportunity to push a little bit for a co-signer right now with a family member to see if like they can help me with that to push myself up over that limit. And at least getting even up to 500 gives me the wiggle room that if something is 440 or 430 or 450, I have some flexibility there.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a rundown of like certain areas and stuff like
So it
that.
comes down to
So
product knowledge, and also too, when she's telling me that she has a challenging budget, I don't know if you guys can hear my tone, but I'm just
Mhm.
like, yeah, like I get it, like I
Mhm.
understand, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
just sympathizing with them.
Mhm.
you obviously could get pre-approved for 500, especially in like the Oshawa and Clarington market, because out of Durham region, Oshawa and Clarington is probably going to be the best value
Product
for you.
knowledge, knowing your
Right.
numbers, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just not
Right.
for you, for everyone, right? Because they're not as much as Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby, and obviously like
Mhm.
Uxbridge and all those things. I would probably consider Aspen Springs. There are some that are listed at 470 that you may be able to get down to 450, just depending. But those are baseboard electric. There's
So
nothing wrong with them.
product knowledge.
Just trying to give you some products
Yeah,
that
that's going to
I
be
know, right?
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But to be honest with you, like you're kind of looking at like that 450, 500 range. There are some stuff in Oshawa like Simcoe, but they're not 2 bedrooms. They're not even 1 bedroom. They're actually just like a Murphy bed, which won't work for you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
and
then
some of
Product
there's
those
knowledge, product knowledge, product knowledge.
Mhm.
of those were like student housing, like a lot of students up by the university.
Yeah, so not everyone. So I actually have a listing there that's sold conditional. So basically what I've learned from the management company, it used to when it was built in 2018. However, it's no longer like that since prices have gone up so much that
Okay.
essentially like, you know what I mean? Like now there's more first time buyers or more occupancies living in there. So it's changed a little bit. There are some on 131 ton. However, you have with condos, you have 2 options, right? Either getting something newer, which is great. You have a little bit more in property taxes because it's assessed in today's market, but you have a lower maintenance fee, like less than probably 250 or 300, right?
Right.
However, if you
Right.
get an
Right.
older building, the prices will be more attractive, property taxes will be lower, but your maintenance fees are going to be higher, anywhere between $500 to $800,
Yeah,
right?
that's what
Some
I've
of
seen,
them,
and I'm. It's
sorry.
like it's not even clear what that includes. Like half the time, it doesn't state like, oh, this also like when my dad lived in a condo in the city, like it included
Yep.
like his cable, his hydro, and this and that. But like
Yeah.
my own experience from buying was that like basically our water was included and we had to pay everything else, but our maintenance fee, sorry, was like barely $300. So it was, it was pretty low
Yes.
compared to some of these places that are $700 or $800, but they don't really list what they actually include.
Yes, yes. Sometimes based on the website, when you look at these things, like on my website, sometimes it doesn't give you the details. But if you let me know which ones you're interested in, I can definitely just let you know what that is, right?
Okay.
Right now, there's one on Ton Road, 131 Ton. I've sold one in there as well, and put someone in there as well. So this one right now is listed at 400. It's so that's good. It's probably negotiable at 400. However, this is a 1 bed, 1 bath. I'm just showing what's available right now. I understand that you need 2. I'm just trying to give you some information about buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pay 610 for maintenance fees, but it includes water or elevator.
So it's always important, like whenever I'm doing my calls, I always have like Treb on, which is like the MLS board. And I'm also looking at things so that like when I'm talking to these leads, I can pull up everything and like while they're talking, I can figure out some more information about how I can get them. You know what I mean? And figure out
Mhm.
a better solution for them.
Heat, hydro,
Right,
and building
right.
insurance and parking, which is good, but you need a
Absolutely.
2 bedroom, right?
Well,
So
yeah, two and more is better. Two because my daughter needs a space, but I also have a
100%.
sister with a disability who comes and stays with me. And
Yes.
so besides that, then it's figuring out like, okay, do we set her up in the basement because there's some sitting area down there, and we can have a pull-out couch, and she can have some space to hang out down there by herself. Like that's really when I didn't know my daughter was moving home, I was like, oh, 1 bedroom is fine for me with a space that I can make into a space for someone else to have a little bit of privacy, a little bit of time, space to themselves. But yeah, with the fact that she's moving home and she didn't want to live in Durham, but like when I was like, well, do you want to just share for now until you go back to school? She's into that.
Yes,
So
which is great.
yeah, so ideally 2 bedroom is sort of a minimum, at least with a den or space or something. And again, I don't have a ton of money. I can't be picky about what I want, but I
No, for
definitely
sure. But you want
want
still
to
good
keep an
pockets.
eye out. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
So
interrupt you.
that's okay.
So yeah, like I'm looking at the market because the thing is like Durham region's average price is about $1,025,000. So like even if you want a 2 bedroom, you need to spend about 475, 500, unfortunately. I'll send you these things just to show you, but generally like the ones that like the ones that are in that price range that you want are 1 bedroom, 1 bathrooms.
Right, right.
So it won't work for you, right? So if you go a little bit more east, like to be honest with you, even getting an attached, semi, or detached, you're not going to find something under 500K. And if you are, it's something that needs a lot of rehab. You know what I mean? A lot of rehab. But
well,
still,
exactly.
people see the value. You know what I'm saying? So people like investors or even first-time buyers, they're probably going to buy something like that and then put the sweat equity in, right?
Well, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Is I will need to do that with, I've got a handyman for basically a brother, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, my father's dad can help with that kind of stuff too. So, as long as I can get something where the bones are good, right? Like where the foundation's good, the roof is good, inside I'm not worried about as much.
Yes.
Like as long as there's obviously not mold and gross
sure,
stuff
100%.
in the walls.
100%.
But like besides
I wouldn't
that,
want to put you there. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Like that's just not what I don't have the
100%.
gumption for that.
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
But like small and older, and it's a really good job, and probably get rid of nasty carpets. Those kinds of things I can deal with. But it's like I said, the bones need to be good. It has to have a good
For
frame.
sure.
So
there's actually a really nice condo townhouse in Bowmanville. So I live in Bowmanville myself, so I know Clarington very well because you said you were in Curtis, which is awesome. There's one on 10 Bridle Path. It's a condo townhouse, so it has 4 beds, 2 bathrooms, which is great. And it's negotiable at $519. But like I said, if
I think that actually sold at $499. So I would give her good solid advice.
Yeah, need 500, like 475, 500 to get what you're looking for.
Right.
So I understand you don't want to be maxed out like that, but I think if you're looking to get the product that you need to, for your family to work, like that's kind of where the budget is currently with market values. Renting, you could definitely rent. There's nothing with that, but the problem with renting is you usually can't get ahead, right? Because rents are really high still, and it's just tough, right? Like for myself, I rather purchase something that may need a lot of work, but not like super bad. You know what I mean? Bones are good and stuff. But then, over time work on it rather than always, not making any equity of any of the rent that you're paying.
Well,
right?
That's exactly where I'm at right now, is deciding that.
So clearly by talking to her, I've hit a pain point, which is like she doesn't want to rent. Right. And I gave her both options on what it is. Because remember, as a professional, we can let them know what it is, but it's up to you to pick whichever one you want to do.
It's sort of a bit of indecision about like, am I actually staying in Durham region, or am I going to move into the Ottawa area? So I've had some indecision around that. Seems like I will likely stay here for at least a few more years. So that's what's pushing me more towards why pay someone else's mortgage, right?
Yeah, 100%. But even if you stay something for a couple of years, like even if you purchase something, let's say I'm just going to say easy numbers right now, if that's okay with you. Let's say you even purchase something for 500K, and like the real secret to wealth is holding the properties for a couple of years to make your money, right? And since it's all owner occupied, you're going to make no taxes on it. So it's all going to be profit, which is great, right? So like even if you get something for 500, you could probably sell it depending on how the market goes in 3 years, maybe for 650. That extra 100, 150K, call it, or more, that's going to really help propel you wherever you need to go, whether you want to rent again or get something at a good price. Even when I'm looking at like Port Hope, there's a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom out there, but there's one holding offers at 400. It may go up to 450, 475, but that's a freehold in Port Hope. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom. I'll send you these so you know what I'm talking about. Because right now I'm just saying like stats, right? That's not going to help you. So like there's another one right now in Port Hope on Brown Street. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath. And it's a 1.5-story house. It's actually pretty cute. There is some things to work on, but it's an older house. But something like that may be something you want to work with. You know what I mean? So I'll send you some of these here just so you can see what's on the market. I'll send you a handpicked list, and then I'll also send you just like, what is available in the market. Because now that I understand what you're looking for, I think I have a gauge.
Yeah, it'd be helpful. And like I said, my daughter's not coming back till the end of August, so I figured if I haven't figured out what I'm doing in terms of purchasing by, the end of spring at the very latest, like I'm in no rush.
100%.
She's gonna have to. like I don't mind waiting it out a little bit to see also what happens a bit with the market. But I think I'm not rushing to buy like in March or that
100%.
kind of thing. But I think
Yeah.
being able to see, but if I saw the right thing, once I have that pre-approval, then it's like, okay, do I just take this leap now and
Yes.
move in with no furniture? Because I have no
Yeah.
furniture.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's sort of
no, I
where I'm
totally
at.
understand.
Yeah, so really just starting from scratch again, having moved out from this like a rental situation I was in a year
Yes.
ago,
Yes.
and then just been able to sort of catch up and stay with somebody this year. But now that I'm thinking about this, I'm like, oh, I don't want to run today and do it, this week. But I
No,
definitely
for sure.
like if I don't have an answer by July or June at the latest, then I'm like, okay, well maybe we're going to rent for now, and we'll have to figure out if we're going to move again later. So
sure.
it's sort of up
For
in the
sure.
air, and like it's shitty because my daughter, neither of us are married to either idea. Like I was like, whatever, let's live forever, and it's such a big decision, and yet we're so
100%.
sort of like it's not like a point of contention between us, and it's not a matter of like, oh, if I don't own, oh my God, we're not like that.
Yeah.
So we're wishy-washy, but about the decision. But that's why I like to know all of the options, and
100%.
Does make sense. Yeah.
For sure. And just so you know, like right now, what's happening with the market, in my personal opinion, like I'm in the top 1% in Durham region. We actually, out of 10,000 agents, we're ranked number 39. So that's great. We list and buy a lot of properties. I actually have my own team of 5. So, I know the market very well, which is great. So I can help you find some good opportunities for a great price. What I was going to say though, with the interest rates now, interest rates are starting to hopefully stabilize at this point and hopefully starting to go down. So what we've learned is as interest goes up, it scares buyers, and now homes are a little bit at a discount. Now when things stay the same or start going low, prices are going to start going up because of
going
buyer
up again.
confidence.
Exactly.
So just to give you an example, like we had a listing on Annandale. We listed at 649. We did that on purpose to hold offers. We had 110 showings in 5 days, and we had 19 offers yesterday, and it sold for just 150K over. So like this is what I'm saying. Like buyers' confidence coming back. Don't let that scare you, because it's not every property that's getting that. We're heavy listing agents and buying agents, so we know how to do it. But there's going to be some opportunities. So I think the most important thing for you, Christine, is getting pre-approved like you're doing, trying to hopefully find that help, because that help will make that difference to make it worthwhile for you to even do it or not, to be honest with you.
Right.
But if I were you and if I had the opportunity, I would buy first. When I first bought in my house, because I'm on commission, obviously I'm a real estate agent. I bought my first house 3.5 years ago in Bowmanville. I'm married, and I told my wife, don't buy anything. We had air couches, air mattresses. I had no money for 3 months. Don't buy shit. Don't buy anything.
Don't do anything.
Trust me, I understand, right? So I get it. But I'll be able to help you showcase those opportunities for you. Just let me know once you fully have that pre-approval ready, because that's going to obviously help you out. But I think that you may start finding good opportunities, because the spring market has come early, meaning that like right now, usually January is the lowest point of inventory. So now as we go into February, mid-February to late February, beginning of March, we're already in the spring market. Spring market usually happens right by March break. And what the spring market means is that we have a little bit more inventory, prices come up, prices come down due to competition. And there are not every single listing going to be selling super, super high. And some of them are not going to be getting the attention. That's where you can scoop in and get a great price for the house that is worthwhile for you.
Right. Makes sense.
So just letting you know, right? Just trying to give you a little bit more of a gauge, because I know that if I was in your scenario, I would want someone that's educated to help me figure this out if this is a possibility.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that. I have a friend in real estate, but she just come back into real estate and then doesn't actually do East Durham at all. Not to say I guess I couldn't ask her, but she's just come back in the market, and their focus is really downtown.
So huge thing there. I've already been on the phone with her for almost 20 minutes. I've already built such a good relationship and showing that I'm a professional. And now she's telling me her whole life. So she already has an agent that she would use, but she's now talking herself out of using that agent and now just using me.
Yeah. Like downtown Toronto, not even
She
Durham,
won't even come out. She won't come out.
Yeah.
Like maybe she will, because she's your friend, but usually like even when I have like friends that are from Toronto and they want to come out here, they just refer me the deal, because like they're not going to come out there. Not every single one, right? So I'm not saying that, but for some people, because it's going to be an hour and a half drive one way, right? So for me, depending how far it is, like I'll go up to Mississauga, Oakville, and stuff like that. But after that, it's too far for me. But so I get it.
Yeah,
And you need someone that's an expert in the area too, right? So
absolutely, and that's more or less like more where my concern is like, are you aware of what's out here? Like, I'm working with a broker in Durham, so
okay.
to me, it's like, at least somebody who's close to home. And then
Yeah.
she was working through an agent as well, and I didn't particularly care much for the agent when I connected with her, but the broker was really great, and I enjoy working
Which
with
is
her.
awesome.
So yeah.
Which is awesome. So I totally get it. And I don't know if you know about Port Hope, but Port Hope usually has a stigma against it. That's why it sells a little bit lower. Did you know that it had a stigma by any chance?
No, I had no
More
idea.
education.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, so I'll educate you on that. So basically with Port Hope regarding on the stigma, so basically like back in, call it 50, 60 years ago, I believe around that time, in the 50s or 70s, something like that, basically that used to be like a trail of like not nuclear waste, but like waste that weren't great. So there's a lot of, sometimes there has been a lot of spills on, because it was in trucks, right? Kind of going in and out. There has been some uranium spills in the floor, like in the ground, but Port Hope has actually done a lot. Actually, I think they spent up to $1 billion. It's called the PHI, so it's called Port Hope Active Initiative. So it's just basically cleaning up all that residue. So anytime that we list a property in Port Hope or someone's purchasing, anyone who's listing the property will have like either a note saying, yes, this has been cleaned and there's no like waste or anything like that that can harm you. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
so
that's
something
good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So just wanted to let you know, I can send you more information about that if you're interested. But yeah, just kind of wanted to give you all the right information because I know that I would want that if I was starting my search.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. I'll look forward to that.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I'll let you continue on with your day. Thank you so much for not hanging up on me. I really appreciate that. I'm going to send you 2 listings. One's going to be a hand-picked list, and one's going to just be one from the system that just matches your criteria. Again, you may see those houses again, that's land leases, but like just disregard them.
Well, and you know what, like I signed up for a few of those different sites where I'm looking at different places. So I have a number of these, things coming into my inbox, and then to see another one that was like, oh, this is just not relevant, or like getting a whole list of like empty property lots, and I'm like, well, that's not helpful. Like,
this is exactly what I've always preached. Like, she's gone to so many other people's websites and she doesn't like, it doesn't help her, right? And like me making this phone call, me tailoring it to her search, she's now basically saying like, okay, thank you, like I needed someone to do this for me. And that was basically at the end of the conversation. I don't want to bore you guys too much, but that was kind of that. So that kind of went through, what you were saying, Crystal, about pre-approval, asking how to get pre-approved. She was a little bit more easier because she knew the value and she was a little bit more further into her process than most.
She'd already started investigating that, right? And knew if she wants to be able to buy something, she's going to have to try to get herself a co-signer to bump that price up.
Exactly. So I think that was a great call to highlight. And remember, that was my first time talking to someone who unsubscribed, and I was on the phone with her for 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Pretty much locked her down.
And that kind of goes into full circle as to why we do encourage you guys reaching out to those individuals, because a lot of times they unsubscribe because they're just getting listings from everywhere. There's no personal connection whatsoever. They're just emails that they're getting filling up their inbox. And in some cases like this, the properties aren't what they're actually would be looking for or wanting to see. So it's just easier to unsubscribe than to reach out to you guys to gain that, any kind of connection. It's easier just to hit the unsubscribe option.
Totally. I totally agree. But like that's basically like how every lead works, really. Like, they're going onto a bunch of different websites and everyone's sending them the same stuff. So the question is, how are you going to differentiate yourself? And the way to do that is literally to make that phone call, make that connection from just what it is.
No, absolutely. They're all personal connections. And how long, like this particular lead, how long was she in your system for before she unsubscribed?
15 days.
Okay.
I think she unsubscribed right away, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. But she was in your system for about 15 days.
Sorry. So 16 days. Yeah. So she came in the 5th. I didn't call her till the 8th. So 3 days later.
Okay. And she unsubscribed right away. Because she probably did come in to see just one listing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And that's basically how that one worked. But as I make my calls, I'm just recording all of them. So I'm calling from my Twilio number. So I can give you guys some examples, because I feel like that would be the best way going forward after doing these live dials and from trial and error. I think it's hard for me to just, give what the people want, which is having
having the calls, right?
Sometimes no one answers, right? So I think this is a better way, and I can at least pause, explain, understand, and kind of go from there, right? So
no, absolutely. We do have one question in here. It's from Anonymous. So respect goes back and forth. Somebody leaves looking on my site for over 1 year. I've called, texted, email, I have no response back from them. They're ghosting you. That's not uncommon. And we have to remember that a lot of time this happens because they're not ready to talk to you yet. So they avoid the conversation because in some cases they may know that, I can't get approval. So what's the point of talking to this person? I'm just going to keep avoiding. I'm getting the listings. And in a lot of cases, they don't owe you anything to actually answer your phone call, right? So, or your text or whatever. We haven't established a relationship with them enough to, have earned that, I guess that request or, I don't know the word I'm looking for, the guarantee that they're going to answer or respond to you every single time, right? And a lot of people, we avoid things, or it could be you're calling at times they're not available. There's people in our lives that are 100% important to us that we don't answer their calls, texts, or emails right away because we sometimes look at it, but we're busy. And then we forget.
Or you don't even want to deal with it right now.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have time for that. I don't want to talk to anyone, regardless of who it is, right?
Exactly.
Like, we kind of pick and choose based on the mood that we're in as well.
Exactly. So I think like hearing that, obviously some people are going to not answer. Like that's just what it is. But I also feel that if you've been trying to contact them for a year and like your email, texting them and stuff, I don't think that you're being bold enough or when I'm saying bold is like, for example, like some of our scripts that we have is, hey, I haven't heard you for a long time. Are you ghosting me? There's some really good properties out right now that probably matches what you need. Or even say, hey, guess what? And they're going to probably respond. Like, I think you need to be a little bit more bolder with the texts and the emails that you send out, because that's what is going to get them to kind of click. Like you want to do clickbait basically, right?
Yeah.
You want to say something that triggers them to say something. And as soon as they said it, that's when you need to figure it out and get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like don't wait 15, 20 minutes. You respond right away.
And sometimes it's engaging them through customer service too, right? So watching that activity, oh, they looked at this listing or they like this listing, I'm going to send it back to them and try to engage with them that way, because clearly there's some level of interest. But it's not uncommon for people to not be responsive to you right away. But through talking to other individuals, and I'm sure this has happened to you before, is all of a sudden one day they pop in and they reply because now they're ready. Right. So sometimes it takes those constant kind of, nudges to get somebody to reply, and it's not happening fast enough for us. But at the end of the day, we always have to remember these people are moving on their terms, not our terms. Right? As much as we want them to all transact sooner rather than later, it's just not the story for many of them that are coming in, because they are starting their home buying process way sooner than previous before. Right. Used to work with buyers years ago that they were just going online as they were getting that much closer to searching or buying a home, or prior to the internet, it was all just now business, right? So it's everything shifts and changes, and the consumers are going online and starting their home buying process way sooner than we've seen previously.
Yeah, I also was going to say I had someone that has been in my system for a little bit, and we put them on one of our campaigns, and they actually hit me up just saying, hey, so just to go with what you're saying, Crystal, is hey, just give me a week or two as we're looking to sell our home, but we're interested in some properties in Uxbridge. So like this is when I got back to them right away, right? But like sometimes if you have to make your campaigns really good, and that only comes from trial and error in order to understand what that thought process is. And really you have to think about like, okay, when someone comes in and this problem happens, how am I going to facilitate that? And like, if you keep saying the same things, make it as a script, put it as a campaign, put them together, right? So, you can make it a little bit easier.
And seeing, because there is, and like, as you said, like this individual is using the unresponsive campaign, not everyone's going to reply to that, right? Just as as the new leads coming in, the campaigns that they're being put on, not everyone replies to that. right? So, and then even if we do have campaigns in there, yes, they're already built out for you, but watch how those campaigns are performing. If there's certain messages that you guys are finding are getting a higher response rate, move them up in the campaign so that they're being asked or triggered sooner in the process. You're gaining that connection sooner rather than later. So it's you're definitely going to want to naturally tweak things. Or adjust it to your own, professional business type and how you would interact with somebody, because sometimes it's just tweaking the words to better suit your personality.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael is noticing a lot of fake numbers lately. How do you deal with that? So the best thing, Michael, with that is to really mark their number as invalid in the system, right? So again, you can just click on the phone icon itself, make sure it is invalid. And if you guys have Twilio, what that does is it prevents that person from being able to actually action the listings, right? So they'll go to your website and it's going to require that they provide you with a valid phone number, and they have to authenticate that number now. So they can't just give you another fake number and call it a day. They have to do it. It will show that it looks like they're active. That activity is kind of like a false positive because it shows that they tried to look at that listing, but the system, I can guarantee, blocked them from doing so. They didn't actually gain full access to the property itself. It basically opened up and the page froze on them. So yeah, Twilio is required for that feature. So just one of the other benefits of utilizing, the full capabilities of your CRM system. But you do turn some of those bad numbers into good numbers, and sometimes it's honest mistakes, right? It's not always intentional that somebody gave you a bad phone number. But sometimes they stem into great conversations with people as well, because now you gained a new number, you call them, they actually answer, and you establish and go from there.
Quick question, Crystal. What happens if, I don't know if you've helped anyone with this problem, but if someone has a lead, let's just say, and they're trying to open up the email, but the email goes blank, what happens?
What do you mean the email goes blank?
So basically, like one of my team members, she was just saying, the agent locator emails are glitching and not letting people view things properly. Is that like? But I haven't really seen it on my end and the other teammate. But like for this one person, they're always saying that they're getting that issue. Have you dealt with that before? Or?
No, not normally. That could be a mail gun issue. I know they were having, like, if it's recent, then that was, I know in the States they were having problems yesterday. But if it's something that's like, have our support team look into it.
Okay.
It could be something to do with the end user's browser. It could also be they haven't validated anything. So what'll happen is maybe that property sold. They go to look at it. It's now sold because it's an older email, which happens. They open up older emails sometimes. Now that property is no longer available.
Right.
And then it's trying to bring them to the sold page, which won't let them access anything because property is not sold. And they have to validate whether phone or email to access new sold listings.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would just reach out to support and give them an example so that they can actually see it, who it is, and then test it out to see what might be going on to create that problem.
Okay, cool. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, because sometimes I've had some people say stuff and I'm like, I just sent it to myself. I can, like, all the listings are there, like I can do everything. So it could sometimes be on the receiving end, something to do with, their settings to their computer, the devices they're using. Yeah.
I'll definitely call and figure that out. Yeah.
So it says it happened on my end a few times. Yeah, so just reach out to support you guys if any of that happens, because if it could be just something minor, it could be a one-off scenario. It's hard to, like, I can't diagnose it.
No, for sure. Just asking.
Yeah. So Michael's asking, why can't we authenticate numbers from the beginning? So Michael, we've done a lot of tests when it comes to lead registration. And the more you require from somebody right at get-go, the less likely they're going to be to sign up. Right. So if you're going to make me jump through hoops in order to access the service, like whatever it is that you're offering, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm going to go somewhere else. So they did split tests and the lead counts actually dropped when they did that. So that's where they'd rather get you the lead. You paid for the click anyway, right? The click happened. So rather get you the lead out of it so that you can maybe get the valid phone number from that individual versus losing the lead opportunity altogether.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. My
Yeah,
phone's
well,
already ringing off the hook, so I need to deal
no
with.
problem. It's all good. And you guys, these are recorded. They're all thrown on our Vimeo channel and sometimes YouTube as well. So either or, but they are always there. So if you guys miss anything, then just let us know.
Sounds good.
Go online. Perfect.
Okay, bye
Awesome.
everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye guys.
Bye.